All right, here we go. Another fine morning in Cooter's garage. The growler just sitting there unhappy because it's just sitting there. We'll get you out in a little while. Wild Bill fixing the tools. And today's project, which actually started yesterday, Bill came over with about a carload of tool parts and things, and one of them was this Eaton E-Locker for his 05 to current Super Duty front axle going in the Jeep. So here's what came out of it. Standard Dana 60, regular old open diff. What I did was swap the ring gear over to the E-Locker. I'll show you that in a minute. Pulled the bearing cones off, and I'm keeping them together. You know, they're marked with the races. We're going to reuse these bearings. They don't have a lot of miles on them. They're clean. They look good. So using my clamshell bearing puller tool, that goes on here with a race, pulls these off nice and smooth. The reason I had to take these off, not only are they going to get transferred to the new E-Locker, I needed the shims that were behind them. So on a Dana axle, they put the shims in between the bearing and the carrier, as opposed to on the outside like a lot of GMs are, or something with side adjusters. So I needed to pull these off, get these shims out. These shims were transferred directly to the E-Locker. Bear with me for a second. We're gonna walk over here. Got too many axles laying around here. So this one, because it's got this big truss already welded on it and all painted, is just sitting on jack stands, and it also makes it a little easier to work on. So there's the new E-Locker. OE ring gear went on there. This happens to be a 430, so they had to provide us with the correct E-Locker, which I believe is the 410 and down carrier.
456 and up.
456 and up would be a different carrier.
Since this is a 430, you have to make sure you get the right one.
Right.
Based on the thickness of the ring gear.
So what I had to do was give Bill the numbers on it. He called and made sure that they sent him the right carrier, so everything lines up. So this is back in there, original shims on the same side. Caps are bolted down. We ran a backlash check. It matched what it was coming out. The pattern looks great. So we really made no changes there whatsoever. And that just goes probably to the consistency and the way these are manufactured, the tight tolerances. This diff pretty much exactly matched the specs of the OE diff that came out. So I was very pleased with that. It didn't have to do any reshimming. In fact, I had to hammer the thing in with a brass punch because these shims already take into account bearing preload. Normally when they're setting these up, I'll put them in as a slip fit with zero preload and then add the preload shims at the very end. This is set up with slip fit bearings, and I'll show you that when we pull this out, because right now we're about to pull it out of here, take the caps off. And just in case you're wondering, when you ever do one of these, from the factory, these caps are marked, so you can't mix them up, or you could mix them up, but you shouldn't. This has a U, I don't know, we'll call that a U. And then there's a corresponding matching mark on this one. So as long as these two look the same, they're facing the same way, you know that's where that cap goes. Whoever was doing this must have been a U day at work. So this one here has a U. You can see the bottom of it there matches this U. And it doesn't matter, as long if you have punch marks, whatever letters you have. If your caps are marked from the factory, you don't have to stamp them and punch them. Just make sure that they match up the same way, and you don't have this one on this side. The U's will be different. So what we're gonna do now, and I'm gonna stop recording in a minute, we're gonna mark where this wire for the E-Locker has to come through, and we're gonna make a hole in the casting. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this back out, and then when I resume, I'll show you how the slip fit bearings are, the ones that I machined to slide on and off. I'll do a little thing on that, and then we're actually gonna press his bearings back on, because this will go in for good, and that'll be that. Okay, there's Bill hard at work. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
That's still too much, right?
Yeah, not in all the way.
Yep.
So what we wanted to show you is we're putting the carrier back in now. Bill's Bearings have been pressed on. We've got the hole drilled in the housing. Just cleared that weld for the truss. That's where the little plug here for the wires are going to come through, hopefully. The other thing that we drilled is a new vent hole over here. And Bill's going to grab some fittings so we can put a 90-degree air fitting in there with his axle vent. The original vent hose, I'm going to show you real quick. It's hard to see, but it's way down in there. And nothing wrong with where it was, except the new truss covers the opening on the other side. So we put a pipe plug in it, tapped it out, put a pipe plug in it, and it's just going to be sealed up. So we needed to create a new vent hose, and because it's a front end and it's sealed all the way on both sides, we can't go and put it in the tube because there's a seal here. So we need to be able to allow air in and vent out pressure. So we're going to relocate it. Just taking off this handy dandy. I made this thing in the shop a couple years ago. It works out really good for putting diffs in or out. And it just screws into one of the ring gear bolts. And we will put the last bolt in and torque it. All the other ring gear bolts have been done. So Bill's just tapping the carrier down all the way in there to make sure it's seated. Another interesting thing to note is we've got these tabs here. I don't know if that comes up on video, but you can hear it. Oh yeah, you can see that one moving. These keep the clutch from rotating. Similar to what ARB does for the air locker. You know, you've got to hold one side of it. So we're just going to get that thing seated all the way down in, get the carrier caps on there, torqued. Get the wire through, and he'll put the cover on, and this front end will be ready to go. All right, little E-Locker demonstration here before we wrap up the day. Just stuffed his short side axle in here. I'm going to try to do this. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. I guess I can. I'm going to nail my fingers in this U-joint. I know it. All right, so Bill's on the power probe. He's going to put some juice to it. Locked. Now you can see it.
You can see how it's starting to move, yeah.
It's locked. Unlocked. Now I'm just spinning the side gears. So he locked it.
There it goes.
And you can see now instead of turning the side gears, we're turning the whole ring and pinion.
That's pretty cool.
Done deal.
We're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about these Johnny joints for the TMR truss that
He's not even drinking bourbon.
Mike installed on the Dana 60. What do you got, Mike? Talk
Yeah,
about
so this here is an 05 and newer F250, 350 axle. Just like you'd got, Bill bought this one online. We stripped it down. This one happens to be a 430 gear from an 11 or a 12, Bill, right?
This is a 12, that's an 11.
So this is out of a 2012. 11 and newer, you could option with lower gears with a gas motor. So he found one. It had no locker in it. So you see the other video that I sent you where we put an E-Locker in the front.
Correct.
This has a TMR Customs swap truss kit. So it came basically with all these plates in a huge box. It weighed about 100 pounds. We've assembled the whole thing.
Welded it up.
What are we looking for?
The bulge. It's right in front of my face.
It's right in front of him.
So you got two of these.
Right.
This fits between them.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you press it in.
Magnify
This
that
way?
a little bit. That's the
There's,
famous Johnny.
there's a long side and a short side.
Yeah.
The long side goes in, and these made up. See how they're offset here?
Yeah, they get pressed in?
And well, you gotta mate them up
Snap-
is all.
Snap together kind
Yeah.
of thing? Yeah.
So I gotta actually take it out
Okay.
before to match it up.
Yeah, so what we're trying to do, this king came with all brackets to basically the way they all key together and weld on is it gives you all the stock JK suspension
that bar?
points. So these uppers are angled. They'll take a factory fork style upper control arm. Lowers should go right in here.
All stuff that you attached and welded to the axle.
Yeah.
All the TMR kit.
All came in one box.
Yeah, as well as the
all
high
one
steer
pair.
kit too, right?
They're keyed together.
Mike, the high steer kit too is all TMR, right?
Yeah, the high steer kit came from TMR. So one thing you'll notice when you buy these axles, we cut this casting off. It usually comes out here, and that's where the coil spring on a Ford truck sits. You just chop that off. That's why there's this extra
To
little
make
bit
room for the new coils.
left. So that when we could have left it. I don't know if there would have been enough room to get the coil spring in there. It wasn't doing us any good. We weren't going to use it, so we just chopped it off.
Okay. A little bit of information from Cooter's Corner.
Well, what we're trying to do now is
You can see.
improvise. Dwayne, would you grab this?
He's going to try to
They are tight.
press the Johnny joint into the control arm
Yeah,
mount.
we can run that all the way out until that. We need to just squeeze that, and I'm hoping that socket will do the trick. There we go. We've got the snap ring
This
in
is a
there.
group effort. Takes 3 guys from JF Off-Road and one guy to film.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Big boy club right here.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it a little bit more. There you go. Is it feeling getting tighter?
It's tight. She rotated it out.
Okay, that's all right.
We just couldn't get the whole snap ring in. We got
Oh, I see
half
what
the
you're
snap
saying.
ring
You're
went
trying
in.
to seat it enough where.
Right, we're
it'll
trying to
seat
get
it.
to the groove.
Mike's trying to install a snap ring.
I got the snap ring in such a spot now I can't get the pliers
Obviously, it
on
needs to go into the groove to seat perfectly.
There it is.
Yep,
Got it?
There it is, yeah.
All right.
She
Yeah.
popped in.
Let me zoom into that. There
See
it
it
is. You can
seated.
see the snap ring. So he pushed it in, and then the snap ring is seated into the groove it's supposed to go into.
We had to compress that urethane bushing, and you can
that's
see
tight.
him. He's got one right here. It's 2 urethane clamshells.
That's what he's telling me. It just interlocks together.
It just needed that little bit of squish.
I can't feel it again. You have to be able to feel that go in there.
You got the 2 halves together.
Yeah, but I
How
lost.
about a little grease on the outside?
Oh, I can get it in. That's not the problem.
So the boys are working to set up this
Yeah, we don't need a lot.
ball joint press to get these Johnny joints installed
You just have to keep
Click it so it's,
staying.
into the control arm
I
mounts. You
wish
can
there was
see
a
this
cup that
one's
went
all
in there, like a
set.
pin to hold
Right.
that
Pretty
secure.
nice.
right.
Obviously,
It's
I
really- this is
can't
made to
turn
go
this,
on
but
that
under the
way.
pressure of the vehicle, Bill will get
I see it
more
going in now,
articulation
so.
out of these.
Well, let's see if we can push it in there. Nope, that
That's not
sounded,
bad.
sounded good.
Screwdriver? You want that little chisel?
Cooter is the supervisor down here in Cooter's garage.
Just get my hard hat on. Stuff goes flying.
Yeah, a
You
little
put
more.
your
I
hard
can
hat
see
on,
the
people are gonna
seam.
say, this guy's
You
crazy.
want the little punch, Bill?
I think we're good. I
For
just
those
have
of
to go a
us
little
that
more.
know you, we're pretty convinced
When
that
you-
you are
Put a
crazy.
little
I am
match
crazy. A little crazy helps around here. So if you put the tip of the thing in there,
I'll
you
try.
should be able to rotate. Just take a little pressure off that
Yeah.
snap ring and spin it, and you'll know it's in the groove. You'll be able to feel it turning in there.
Come on, Bill.
Those goddamn things work ass backwards and they screw you up.
Bill has
We got a
taken
system
his
here.
life
We got a
savings
team
after
thing
working.
going
Yeah.
on.
After working 40 years, he's taken his life savings and decided he's going to spend it on axles.
About what it is, too.
Right?
Oh.
How does Mary feel about this, Bill? Tell us the truth.
Mary?
Mary,
You're spending all her inheritance?
Well,
well,
well, I can't see shit.
I can't see. We're all blind.
We're all blind. Don't
I
look
have
at me.
cheaters. Hey, Mike, where's your cheaters? How are you going to do it without cheaters? Dwayne and I need cheaters.
Yeah, he's kidding us. He
Dwayne,
can't see
Dwayne
that.
has these tiger striped, very feminine cheaters.
And Rick just looks, he looks wonderful on him. He looks
not all the
wonderful.
way in yet.
Yeah, this
We're gonna
backside
get
don't
it.
look in.
We're going to get it.
That,
I heard
is
a
that
click.
it?
Yeah.
I heard a couple clicks. You might have gotten it.
Let me push back on this
Basically, he's
backside.
trying to put enough pressure on the joint and what surrounds it so that the C-clip goes into the groove and then expands and locks everything in. And
I think
oh,
I just saw
there it goes.
There it goes.
There it
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good job,
All
Cooter.
right, she's in.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, you need a little extra squish on that. Trying to get it
Should go this way.
Got the bolts here through the Johnny joints. Brand new E-Locker installed. Here's the plug for it. And Mike
Yeah,
is
right there, Mike.
Mike is threading for the breather right there. So that's what's going on here with Wild Bill's wontons.
If I can get this tap.
As Gary says, wontons.
Wonton.
Wontons.
I'm telling
So
you,
this is what it takes to join the big boy club,
I
right?
have one-tons with lockers. I just don't have them in the car.
You're
But you
getting
guys can't make
close.
fun of me for not having lockers anymore.
Bill.
The Jeeps and the Dodges, the C has a curve to it.